Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. I'm going to be talking about the constant state of mind that we as so-called black people allow ourselves to stay in. We stay stuck in this place because we're not trying to redirect and move beyond these points of contention in the world that we have. I'm noticing a trend where we're seeing more and more stories where teachers are calling our children the N-words. They're posing with nooses, and they're just doing all kinds of things. You have school security, not just rough handling, but literally brutalizing our children. And the narrative stays the same, where we get upset for a moment, we do videos and we make comments, but we are the only people who are not actively or progressively trying to improve our situations. What we're doing while others are making progress, we are making more excuses. Let me say that again. While other groups are making progress, we are making more excuses. You see, Malcolm X said a long time ago, he said, only a fool would send his children to his enemies to be taught. Now, when you have teachers who've made it clear that they can't stand your children, they think they're N-words, they think they're unteachable, they think they're trash, they think that they are unbreakable, meaning they have school resource officers slamming little 10 and 11-year-olds to the ground like they're rag dolls, like they have no feelings, but yet we continue to send our children into these hostile environments. And with this new push to have guns in the schools, it's already been stated that even though the majority of the school shooters are white or some other racial group other than black, even though the majority of them are white, that most of the victims, if teachers are armed, the majority of the victims will most definitely be black students. And so now school is no longer a place of education. It's a place of wonder. You're wondering if your child is going to come home alive. You're wondering if your child is going to be the victim of some crime. You have teachers telling them that they can't wear their hair in its natural state, while Becky and Brad can wear their hair however they want to. We can't dress in our own tribal clothing. I mean, everything that we do is offensive to them. Everything that is natural is offensive to them. And yet we send our children into these environments thinking that we are doing them a service, doing our children a service by sending them into an environment where they are hated. And so this is where I say that we can't complain any longer about what other groups are doing to us if we are not collectively trying to figure out how to better suit and better serve our own communities. We can say all day long about what others are not doing for our communities, about how they're trying to hold us back. Well, I'm tired of that narrative over and over. We get all these news reports throughout the day. A lot of people share stories with me in which I just don't have time to cover a lot of stories these days because we're trying to take advantage of the growing season. You have to get in there early, right? I appreciate everyone who does share stories. And when I get a moment or an opportunity, I do like to speak on certain things. But it comes a moment in time where you say to yourself, if our people are not going to try to make some type of effort to improve our situations and take control of our communities, then what is the point of it all? I mean, this is becoming a narrative that's being played out. We get more excited about stories where we can point out what others are doing to us. Oh, they called us the N-word. Oh, they hate us. Okay, we know all of this now. So where do we go from here? The question is, where do we go from here? We know that the world hates us. We know that they're doing everything in their power to destroy us. But what we're doing is we're joining in with them. Now, one thing I wanted to say about all of this is when we complain about what these other nations are doing to us, but yet we hear things like this happening in our communities. Now, I'm only going to say a little bit about this because it's pretty close to home, okay? There was a elderly man who had something that this young black guy wanted. Okay. And he spoke and said that he was going to try to get it. He was going to try to get it. Okay, I want you to fill in the blanks as to what I'm talking about. So, what this young man decided to do to get what he wanted from this elderly man was to kill him. So you have a young black male killing an elderly black male so that he can take something or steal something that he wanted. So now you understand why it's very difficult to try to say let's unify. So what do? Unify with this young man who decides to take out one of our elders to steal something from him that he wants? Now, what about the fact that many of our people don't want to unify? What about many of our own people wanting to victimize you for what you have because they don't want to work? Or they don't want to make the efforts to do what it is they have to do to take care of themselves. And so we always talk about black unity, but we don't know what's at stake when we cry for black unity. First, before you can cry for unity, we've got to get our strength up. We've got to fortify everything that we can before we can try to unify. That simply means that in areas where we are weak, we need to fortify. We are lacking headship and leadership in the black community. Everyone wants to be somebody in the black community. Everyone wants to make a name for themselves. They want to be a big person, well known for this accomplishment or that accomplishment, this achievement or that achievement, for how much money they have, how much status they have, for their artistic works, for their academic works, or for their cinematic works. Everybody wants to be known. They want to get their name out there so that they can be somebody big in the black community. But where are those who are really trying to make a mark, a true mark? Okay? Now, you have those that I would declare as heroes, unsung heroes, those who want to try to educate, really and truly. You have those who are trying to encourage our people to be self-sufficient. But the sad part is a lot of our people don't even care about self-sufficiency. So what are we doing? Talking to a brick wall? We talk about all this black unity, but you have to look at everything that's involved in it. Black unity doesn't just require everybody with their hands out to those who have and say, well, give me of what you have, while I sit back and kick my feet up and just wait for the next person to give me more and more and more. Black unity requires work. From the lowest level to the top level, the highest level, should I say. We have to be willing to put our hands in the soil, get our hands dirty, stick our necks out there. Most people are not willing to stick their necks out for nobody. Unfortunately, you have a lot of people screaming for black unity, and they have requirements of others that they don't even require of their own selves. They want to see everybody else doing this, that, and the other, but they would not stick their necks out to do this, that, and the other for others. That's the problem with this call for black unity. And so when we see stories such as teachers calling our children the N-words, oh, we get so hurt, so upset, and we say, oh, I can't believe this. Our kids should not be in these schools hearing these types of things. And when they do hear them, they are in disbelief. This means that we are not educating our children on the history of this country and this world. If they are saddened or disheartened or in disbelief or shock by hearing these things, that means we are not doing our jobs to teach them. We got a lot of work to do, family. Shalom.